Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another podcast on the Luke Mind Power Podcast. It's a blessing to be alive. I'm super freaking excited to be with you today for another podcast episode. We are in a new year. We're in the 2025, which is crazy. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I was born in 1984, and all of a sudden you wake up again another day, and it's 2025, which is it just shows you, how fast time flies. So wherever you are around the world, whatever you're doing, thank you for joining me. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for tuning in to another podcast episode on the Luke Mind Power Podcast. It's a blessing to be here with you. And whatever challenge you're going through, I hope that through this message, through my energy, through me spending some quality time with you, through you spending some quality time with me, that I inspire you to keep going even when it gets tough, even when it gets challenging, even when you're scared, even when it's out of your comfort zone, even when you get overwhelmed. And I think one of the most important things that is going to help you to overcome your challenges is to face your fears, is to push through, is to surround yourself with positivity, is to surround yourself with good energy, is to have a really positive mindset. And, sometimes you need those breaks. Sometimes I've noticed working with so many people over the last few years in our coaching programs that, as soon as we start to make changes, as soon as we start going into a different environment or a different path or a different way of life, what a lot of the things that does happen is we get overwhelmed. We get overwhelmed, and like, let's break that down. What does that actually mean, and why is it so maybe not draining, but it kind of takes over your body, your mind? You feel like, wow, this is too much. And so if we look back at life and how we've evolved and the things that we've gone through and how our mind and subconscious mind has been programmed, what the natural thing for us is that we gravitate, or we're happy and peaceful with what's familiar, even if it's shit, even if it's toxic, even if it's negative, even if it kind of doesn't make us feel as good as we would like to feel, because it's familiar, because we're used to it. We actually sometimes don't actually move from that space. So immediately when you start working on your personal development, or you start working on reprogramming your mind and thinking differently, or you start surrounding yourself with a different environment, all of a sudden trying to focus on something that you've never focused on, you're going to feel some sort of overwhelm. There's going to be some sort of resistance mentally from your mind to go, hey, hang on a second, you're going down a path that you've never been before. This feels uncomfortable. This is not what I'm used to. So naturally, what's going to happen? It's going to say, well, no, I don't feel safe, and that's what we love. We love to feel safe. And if you're not feeling safe, then immediately alarm bells are going to ring, and you're going to go, nah, this is not right. I'm going to run away. And so what do we normally do? We retract to that which is familiar. We pull back to stay in the comfort zone, to stay in the known, to stay where we are. And guess what? Where we are is not going to help us to grow. It's not going to help us to evolve. It's not going to help us to get us to where we want to be, or where we need to be, or where we should be, or to help us to reach, our fullest potential. And again, this is what the purpose of this podcast is, to help you to make those better decisions, to, like I always say, I'm here to help you to unlock your greatness, but you're the one that has to always decide, what does that mean for me? What more greatness have I not achieved, or not unlocked, or not been able to understand, or go deeper into within myself, so that I can actually freaking figure out, what else do I have? Who am I? And again, it's a personal journey. It's a really personal journey of figuring out, understanding yourself. And I guess, again, I always talked about feelings. It always comes down to feelings. It always comes down to, how do you feel within yourself? Does it feel right? Does it feel wrong? Does it feel off? Does it feel good? Because again, you always want to gravitate to that which kind of does make you feel good or better. But at the same time, you also have to be aware that getting out of your comfort zone and growing and moving towards something that you haven't experienced before, or you haven't been that deep into a new version of yourself before, that naturally there's going to be fear. So that's the thing that you're got to distinguish, because you could easily go, well, I'm not feeling safe. I'm not feeling good. I'm not kind of feeling the way I thought I'd be feeling. I'm not feeling like the best yet, possibly. And so what happens? You give up. So we're not here to give up. We're just here to become really conscious and aware of what it is that we want to achieve in our lives, and who it is that you are, so that you can understand yourself and make better decisions. So I'm really looking forward to 2025 into, growing more, learning more, most importantly, staying consistent, because in order for you to achieve any of your goals and your dreams or whatever it is that you're working towards, that consistency is everything. If you don't have that consistency with your, work, with your fitness, with your health, with your routine, with everything like that, then you're not going to get very far. And I think that is definitely what holds many of us back. I was talking to one of my clients on our coaching call, and she was saying that she procrastinates a lot and she struggles when she starts doing the work. And she, for the last few weeks, she's struggled to actually make any progress because in the past, she's always done the same thing where she makes a little bit of progress, makes a little bit of an investment, and then all of a sudden she finds herself procrastinating. And I was like, man, that's what the community's here for. That's my coaching program has a community, and that's why you would then, reach out, share your struggles, what you're going through, and then ask for support. And if there's anything that is going to help you to get yourself moving forward, to have that momentum, to get the progress that you want to get, it's by having accountability. I recently had some family friends, cousins come over for Christmas. And, I'm all for going to the gym. I'm all for like keeping that consistency. But let's face it, Christmas coming up and eating and drinking and eating and drinking, like that kind of, part of the year, right? So, of course, I'm all for fitness. I'm all for training and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, when they come, I'm going to see if they want to go to the gym and go. And so what I found was that, I went a few times, but then there were other times where I didn't want to go. But then guess what? They wanted to go. And so when they would message me and say, hey, do you want to go to the gym? I was more inclined to say yes because I didn't want to say no. You know what I mean? And because they were here from overseas, I was like, well, you want to be their host, do things with them. So it's just an example of not necessarily that you don't want to spend time with them, but more about accountability. You're more likely to say yes to the work that you're avoiding if someone else is like on your back going, hey, have you done that yet? Or, hey, do you want to come to the gym? Or, hey, you said you were going to call and you didn't. Right? So when you have these appointments and these check-ins and like someone that you can vibe off or someone that you can go to the gym with or someone that you can do some work with, and you have that connection of someone that's maybe like-minded or going in the same direction as you, it's more likely that you are going to actually make that progress. And that's one of the things that I've learned as well is, you can be your own worst enemy. And I know that it's, I always say you can be your own worst enemy or you can be your own best friend. Program yourself whichever way you want. Whatever you do is then what you manifest. Whatever you do is then what you become. But let's face it, man, I'm definitely a realist. I'm not going to just like bullshit. I'm going to say, hey, yeah, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed. Sometimes you want to sleep in. Sometimes that the work that you're avoiding is going to help you to grow, but we're so used to just doing the normal stuff that we're used to doing every single day, like going to work and cooking and having a shower and brushing your teeth and watching Netflix and lying on the lounge and doing the easy things, just enough, the bare minimum for us to survive, right? But it's the other stuff that's going to help you to grow. It's the work. It's working on yourself, especially like as I've experienced many of our clients, this is the challenge. The first 4 weeks of starting our program and doing this work is the challenging part. It's like the first week's like, oh my gosh, yes, this is amazing. But then the first 4 weeks to build that momentum. And that's why having these coaching sessions that we offer every single week to keep you accountable, build that momentum at the beginning is really, really important, So that's the challenge, and again, I know that many of us struggle with procrastination, and that's why, for example, you have personal trainers. I think that's probably one of the best. Not only is having a mentor or a coach or someone that you're working with that can help you or keep you accountable, but for example, use maybe even group fitness coaching classes when you go to the gym and you do group fitness, right? Or you have a personal trainer. You're definitely more likely, like, just let me know if you agree or you don't. Are you more likely to go to the gym because you know that you've got an appointment at 5 p.m. and you know that personal trainer is going to be waiting for you, right? Rather than you saying, oh yeah, I go to the gym at 5 p.m. and then you go on your own. With the amount of stress, with the amount of work, with the amount of things that you have going on in your life, you're definitely more likely to go to the gym at 5 p.m. because you know that there's someone waiting for you there. And if you don't show up, then what are they going to think of you? Like, oh my gosh, this person's just a bullshit talker. They just like said they're going to come and they don't come, you know? So that's the challenge, having that accountability. So let's move it even deeper, right? In your environment, in the people you're surrounded by, in the friends that you have, in your family, in your partner, whoever it is that you're surrounded by, how are they motivating you? How are they inspiring you? How are they kind of giving you a little bit of a push to say, hey, what are you doing? Maybe not even directly telling you like, hey, hurry up and organize yourself. Maybe it's just the way they show up for themselves. And that's why I say that we have the power to inspire each other. We have the power to make a difference in our lives. But as we do that in our lives, we are inspiration to people around us. And I think that the beautiful thing that I learned early on doing this work is that I stopped trying, because at the beginning it's exciting. I was excited. I was telling everyone what I'm doing. I'm learning personal development, and I'm going to start my own business, and I'm learning to become a speaker, communicator, practicing self-love. And then I was really, really inspired. I was buying books. Like, I don't read, and actually one of my challenges I was thinking of doing this year is, because I just received a book from Dr. Julie, who's she is a psychologist on Instagram, and she messaged me and she's like, hey, I want to send you my book. And I said, yeah, cool. Here's my address. Send it to me. And so I was just thinking, when I first started, I bought Dean Graziosi, Millionaire Success Habits. I bought Ed Mylett, Max Out. I bought, what other books did I buy? Lewis Howes, The School of Greatness, I think. Yeah, The School of Greatness. That was the book that I bought. Yeah, Lewis Howes. I think so that there was a few books that I actually bought and I read. I read it because I was really inspired at the time. I was inspired and I wanted to learn. And, the first time in my life that I actually was interested in something. At school, I wasn't interested. I was like getting in trouble. I had a very short attention span. I was just always getting in trouble. I was laughing. I was stealing shit from people's bags. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't a student that was getting freaking A's and shit. I was a student that was always just getting 50%, and I was just getting a pass mark, And they even kicked me out after year 10 because my marks weren't good enough for me to actually stay in the school that I was at, So I didn't know what to do. There was an opportunity to go and do some carpentry work with this carpentry course. It was called the Beckham program in Sydney. And I did that for 12 months. And then after that, I didn't want to do anymore. I didn't want to become a builder or a carpenter. I just wanted to, I didn't know. And then my sister said, well, why don't you go finish year 11 and 12, which is like your highest school certificate in Australia. So I said, okay, I'll do that. But again, my marks were shit. It was really just something for me to do because I didn't know what to do. And it was the same thing. Like, I was getting in trouble. I was always like not concentrating. I was not, the assignments and the homeworks like wasn't a priority. Didn't give a shit. So it's coming from this place of like, I'm not that. Again, I want to be careful. Whatever you say you are is what you are. But again, we all have different things that we are good at and things that we're not good at. So you need to figure out like, what's your learning capacity? What's your learning style? Everyone's different. Just because I don't particularly read books doesn't mean I'm stupid. But for many, many years, that's how I felt. I felt like I'm stupid, other people are smarter than me, right? As soon as like I started learning from YouTube and listening to podcasts, I learned that my learning style is audio and visual, right? It's listening. It's listening to stuff that inspires me, or listening to someone speak that's inspirational or something like that. That's my learning style. Not necessarily reading a book, but I still had this challenge, and I was like, maybe as I get older, I was like, even this year, I was like, why don't you start small? Why don't you give yourself a challenge, and for the next, 90 days, you just read every day one page, just one page, and maybe I could get through Dr. Julie's book. So I haven't set that goal yet, but I'm thinking about it, because I'm still kind of getting into my routine. As you know, I had 4 weeks off the podcast. I hadn't posted any podcast episodes, and now we're getting into the new year, and I'm slowly easing back into my routine, because the truth is, once I am at my capacity, once I'm in my flow, once I've got myself back into a really, really good routine, because this is the key, you need a good routine. If you want to be your best, if you want to freaking smash it, if you want to feel amazing, if you want to feel good, you need a good routine. And I'm learning that. I'm seeing that, When I came back from, where was I? Yeah, I did the London event on the 2nd of November. I flew to Australia with my fiance. And then after leaving Australia on the 18th of November, I flew back to Europe. I flew back to Poland, and my fiance flew back to New York. And then I was there for 3 weeks by myself. And no joke, it took me because time zone changes, like I'd been completely disconnected from my routine. I'm visiting family, celebrating my dad's 80th birthday, introducing my family to my fiance, like all this shit's happening. I'm in Australia, and also the time zone, like getting used to the Australian time zone coming from Europe. It was a lot, and then all of a sudden the 2 weeks were gone. And not to mention, like, living out of a suitcase and all that, like, I didn't like that. That's for sure. That was uncomfortable. As much as I am so grateful to travel, I'm so grateful to be able to travel, to visit different countries and all this kind of stuff. When you're in this routine and you're doing your thing, it really takes it out of me in terms of like my flow, my power, who I am. So what I noticed is, like, when I got back to Poland, it took me legit 2 weeks to catch up. Like, I had to get back to the time zone. I had to start, I tried to start going back to the gym, getting up early. I really, really like getting up at like 6 a.m., like 5:30, 6 a.m., getting up first thing in the morning, go to the gym, get that over and done with. I like going to the bakery, getting some food and stuff, having a coffee, and checking in with my team. And then by the time it's like 10 a.m. or whatever, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do my coaching, ready to work with clients, ready to do my check-in with all of my, coaching programs and stuff like that. And I've got the whole day to do that, you know? So I'm very, very, very aware of, like, when you're in your flow. And of course, if you're someone who's building your dream business, or you're building this new version of yourself, it's a full-time job. I would say that even though I have, amazing clients, I have my own coaching programs, I have my own coaching business, I have all these social media platforms with like millions of followers and stuff like that, I would say that everything that I'm doing is part of me still becoming and focusing on me becoming the best version of myself, And I'm not there yet. I wouldn't say that you'll never get there. I believe that there definitely is a best, like, there is a version of me. And I would say there's a version of you, like, let's say in 2 or 3 years' time, where you've really done well on your health. You've done well on your fitness, your mental health, your spiritual health, your financial health, like, you've really mastered everything. You've got yourself to a really amazing point where it's not about perfection, but you'll be able to sit there in that moment and go, wow, like, I was working towards this kind of level for a long time, and I can genuinely, and you'll know it, I can genuinely feel that I've got there. I'm there. I've got it, you know? And then, of course, what happens when you have it? It's the challenge of maintaining it. I remember seeing this quote, and it said, being overweight is hard. Exercising and staying healthy is hard. I don't know if I've shared this before, but these are the things, like, you have to choose your hard. Like, starting a business is hard. Working in a job that for someone else that you don't like is also hard. Like, you have to choose your hard. Like, life isn't supposed to be easy, right? But I think what we're getting to is it's the fulfillment. It's the fulfillment in what you're doing that kind of either makes you feel like you feel good about yourself because you're doing something that's like creating some sort of positive impact, or you're making a positive contribution to the world, or you're changing someone's life, or you're helping someone with something specific. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, whatever you decide, it's always going to impact someone. If you look at the marketplace, everyone has a service, a product, a brand, something that they are giving to the world, and that is going to then have some sort of impact on other people, right? If you're selling something, then someone's going to buy it. And if someone buys it, how is it going to make them feel, right? And so that is then where the fulfillment comes from. The amount of messages that I get from people saying, I love your energy. I love your energy. I've listened to your podcast, like the work that you do and what you're putting out there on social media has helped me so much through my toxic relationships, or through this, or through whatever that they're dealing with. And I get that and I receive it. And I'm like, a lot of it comes back to me and going, well, I'm very grateful that I put out this kind of content, because I know that it actually is healthy, I know that it's actually something that is making a difference in people's lives, right? And that's fulfilling. It's fulfilling to know that, okay, I'm making a positive contribution. I'm making I'm putting out good energy out there, and people are able to use it. So anyway, before I go any further, guys, I'm just going to share this with you, because again, I just one of our recent clients, actually, she just joined our coaching program, and I said, how did you find out about us? I said, how did you hear about us? And she said, well, you were going live the other day and you were recording a podcast episode, and you mentioned that if we were interested in learning more about your coaching program or joining your coaching programs, that we should just get in contact with you and send you a DM. And so I did. And I was like, so you've never seen me before? And she's like, no. She's like, I just saw you, I listened to you, and I was like, I think you can help me. And so I got in touch, and she was ready to do the work. She's ready to take action. So I thought I would, make it a consistent action and a consistent invitation on my podcast, because a lot of you may listen to the podcast, but you don't actually know that we have coaching programs. And when I say we, I say me and my team, that we can help you to obviously grow, become a better version of yourself. One of the core things that I teach in my coaching programs is self-love. So obviously, if you're watching on YouTube and you look down below this video, then you'll see that there's a few links, where I share more information about our coaching programs. But if you are interested in learning more about our speaking program, or about, learning to love yourself, or overcoming some sort of fear or depressive experiences that you're dealing with, or some sort of PTSD, insomnia, anxiety. You want to grow confidence in yourself and become the best version of yourself and live your freaking best life. And a lot of our clients do start their own businesses and go down roads that they never thought they would, just because they become someone they never thought they could become, because you do this work on yourself. And we do three live coaching sessions every single week. So you're looking for accountability, you're looking for a community to work with. Don't be afraid to simply get on Facebook or on Instagram at Luke Mindpower and just send us a message. Send us the word transform, and we'll give you some more information about if and how we could possibly help you. Okay? Anyway, back to the podcast, guys. So I was just talking about fulfillment and, your life and the things that you do. And you got to tap into yourself as well, of like what it is that makes sense for you, because I really believe if you look around, everyone's doing something. I used to work at McDonald's. That was my first job. I used to work in a market research company as a whatever you call it. I used to call accountants and banks, and I used to ring them and do surveys with them. Hey, I'm Luke from, I'm Luke from AMR Interactive, and today that was the company, AMR, I remember it. Hey, I'm Luke from AMR Interactive, and I'm just calling about this, blah, blah, blah. And we had a whole script on the screen, and I had to read it. And then if the person said yes, I would take them through this survey, and it would go for about 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. And I think, I don't know what I was getting paid, like $20 an hour or something like that. But that was, and I'm saying, like, everyone plays a role in the world, making the world go round. It doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're working there, that's going to be the job that you do, or something that you are working with for the rest of your life. We just have this choice now of deciding of, like, what it is that fuels me, what inspires me. Is this something that makes sense for me? And then from that, I finished that, and I think I started working with my brother-in-law and my sister and his parents, and we were selling phone accessories and perfumes on eBay. So then I was on e-commerce, and I was sitting on a computer. I was also packing all the perfumes. We had boxes and carton boxes, and we were sending all this stuff out to the post office. So I did all of that freaking, like, 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago, because I was 20. So, and then after that, I worked in a cafe. We had to stop selling all this stuff online, doing the e-commerce stuff, because of 9/11. They said that we couldn't send perfumes via airmail, so it was for flammable liquid, and so that stopped the business. And so then what happened? We thought about a new idea, and my brother-in-law was like, "Well, okay, let's start a cafe." We opened up a cafe, and I was like, "Okay, well, I can come try and work at the cafe." I was like, "Okay, something different." So I tried that for a month, ladies and gentlemen. And it was so chaotic and so busy in that space. And I was under so much pressure constantly to get the orders out, to take the orders, to get everyone their food, the crepes, the coffee, this and that, ice creams and all this stuff. And after a month, no joke, I remember going to my brother-in-law, and I was like, "Man," I said, "thank you for the opportunity." I said, "but this is not for me." And you know what I actually remember saying? I remember saying that I am not the person. I remember saying this. I don't know if it's a bit arrogant or whatever, but that was just me at the time. I was like, you know what? I'm not this person. I'm not the person that is going to be like. But I used to work at McDonald's as well. So, but I was at the McDonald's. I wasn't really working at the front. I was making the burgers. So at the time, I just felt like it was just too much for me. But I remember saying something like, you know what? And I think this is my entrepreneur or business or boss mindset, not to degrade anyone or whatever, in terms of, like, working as a waitress or working as a waiter, or because everybody has to start somewhere. But when I got to that point in my life, I was like, you know what? This is not for me. And I'm not the person that serves. I'm the person that gets served, because I kind of felt like I was past that. And plus, because it wasn't my own business. If it was my own business that I was running, then maybe it would have been different, where I was just like, yeah, this is our hustle now, this is what we need to do. But as a worker, I just didn't feel it, I didn't feel good. So I lasted a month there, and then I quit. And let me tell you what happened next. When I quit there, I went from January to June being unemployed. And in Australia, basically I went on unemployment benefits, so I was getting Centrelink for 6 months. And I would say that 6 months was a pretty low place for me. I was gambling. I was up all night watching freaking the football around the world. I was on sports bet. I would go the pokies, the slot machines, and be losing all my money all the time. So my lifestyle, I was eating burgers and shit, chips and shit every day. My lifestyle was crap, and I'd be waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, checking freaking sports bet, checking the apps to see, did I win? Did I win? Did I win on that soccer game and that, So, like, that was what I'd rather do. I'd rather be unemployed than work in a place. And I guess that was the benefit in Australia. Again, they have these definitely good social security system or unemployment benefits, that if you don't have a job, that the government will help you to get some money so you can survive, So I took advantage of that, and then it was around May, I think, because I didn't know what to do. I was looking for something, and I was looking in the military as well. I was looking in the army. I was thinking of the Air Force, and I was looking for things like, what can I do? And then my sister sent me job, Caroline. She actually works with us in our coaching programs as well, and she sent me a letter saying, or not a letter, just a job application to apply as a trainee in the Roads and Traffic Authority as a customer service representative. It was paying about 24,000 Australian dollars, which is about 16,000 US a year. And I applied for it. And guess what? I got the job. Like, no lie, because I hadn't had a job for freaking 6 months. I remember walking in the supermarket, and I found out they called me, and I found out I got the job, and I was actually emotional because I was like, oh my gosh, I got a job, you know? So I lasted in that for 12 months, and I met some great people. I worked in the government. I worked frontline customer service, you know, and I've shared this story before, but I'm going to share it to you again because it's incredible what happens when one person says something to you that can change your life forever. And this one person came up to me while I was at the counter. And basically they said to me, she looked at me and she said, Luke, she's like, what are you doing here? She's like, you're better than this. And I was like, what? Like, seriously, I was like, what? Like, I didn't like say what to her. Like, I was just like, I was a bit dumbfounded, you know, because I was just like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And like, maybe she could see my potential. Maybe it was just like an older lady. She was getting her license renewed. I was filling out the application or finishing off the application for her. And basically she said to me, you know, Luke, you're better than this. So in other words, what she was saying was like, you don't belong here, Luke. Not just in customer service, not just in frontline service. You've got more potential, or you've got more greatness in you, or you've got something else in you that you don't know about yet. I was only 24, turning 25. I was young, you know, that's for me. So, and I remember it stuck with me till now, right? And this is the power of words. This is the power of inspiration. This is the power of, you know, someone saying to you, hey, or if they see your potential, or if you're working somewhere and someone says something to you, and it could be even just your partner or your, you know, family or whatever, and they say, hey man, you know what, like you could actually do better than what you're doing right now. And you could probably take it as an offense, but they're not saying it to hurt you. They're probably saying it just because they can see that you're intelligent. They can see that you're more than that environment, more than that job. So, you know, I'm just sharing a little bit of this story with you guys, just in the hope that you realize that wherever you are right now, everyone plays a role, and we all play a role at some stage in some job, in some company, for that specific amount of time. And you're the one that gets to decide how long you stay there and whether or not it's fulfilling. And I know when I was working in the government as a driving examiner, which was the next job that I applied for, and I got it after several attempts, that there were many people there that were working in those positions for 30 years. You know, like legit just working in the same job, doing the same thing at the same place for their freaking career. That's their whole life. You know? And again, not saying it's bad. I'm saying everyone plays a role. You know, everyone has to play a part in the world, in how the world is continuing to revolve, to evolve, to like move around the way that it does. You know, but I truly believe that we've gotten to a place now where we have access to more information. We have the ability to become really, really intelligent. We have the power to use AI and to use social media and to use everything that we have access to with technology, that we can build our own brand. We can build a coaching business. We can build different online platforms that can generate income. You know, we can provide service. We can join the self-education industry and actually help people overcome their challenges that we have overcome. And I remember starting with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi back in 2020, and I bought the Knowledge Broker Blueprint. And that was about $5,000. And they were talking about the self-help industry, the self-education industry. They were like, you know, you can become a knowledge broker. You become someone online that actually helps other people solve a problem. And remember that your greatness, your success, I love this quote. The first 5 years of business is not where you become successful. The first 5 years of business is where you become really good at what you do. And when I read that, I was like, fucking hell, that's good. Because it's almost like you put yourself under this pressure that you have to be a millionaire. You put yourself under this pressure that like you have to be getting paid 30, 40, 50, $60,000 a month for you to feel like you're doing a good job or you're actually making progress. And it's like, no, the first 5 years of your business, of what you're trying to build and establish yourself, is where you fucking make mistakes, is where you fuck up, is where, you have to deal with customers, you have to deal with people, you have to learn the ins and outs of what's working, what's not working, how can you do things better, refining your systems and how the business is running, so that over the course of that time, if you don't give up and you actually stay committed to the process, to learning from every single situation, because remember, if you don't learn the lesson keeps happening. If you don't learn what that mistake is or what that thing is that's happening in your business that's causing some sort of problem, the problem keeps happening. So that's same thing in life, in relationships. If you don't communicate or you don't fix something that is constantly being brought up, guess what? It will happen again. It will happen again. And until you actually open your mouth, until you communicate, until you understand what's happening, how can we fix this? How can we move forward? So that's a lot of my story. I didn't actually come on to this podcast. As if you guys know me, then you'll know that, I actually don't have a plan. I don't have a book that, it just says best life at the top there, but I don't have points and stuff. I mean, sometimes I can have points. There's things that I want to talk about, but I just come on and riff. I come on and speak. I come on and share. And whatever flows through me, whatever I'm inspired to share with you guys, that's what I share, And I think a lot of the times, if you're someone who wants to start a podcast, or if you're someone who wants to be some sort of a speaker or influencer, or share your knowledge or story or whatever on social media or on YouTube or whatever platform you decide to be on or whatever it is, or just having your own business or something like that, just remember that, it's not about perfection. It's just about getting started, and that's the one thing that I do every time I turn on the podcast, every time I take action, every time I have an event. It's not about me going, oh, make sure you do this, and this. I'm just like, no, just be yourself. Allow yourself to naturally nurture yourself, grow, learn from your mistakes, learn from the experiences, learn from the situations, trust yourself more, and allow yourself to be able to express yourself. You don't have to have it all figured out. Stop looking at other people and seeing, oh my gosh, they speak so well. Oh my gosh, why are they so good? Oh my gosh, look how they must have practiced for years. And it's like, yeah, this is what this is all about. In order for you to get good at communicating or good at expressing yourself, it's practice. It's doing it all the time. When I first started this work, I was going live on Instagram with people and there was one person watching. I was doing it every day. I had a whole list in my book. I had appointments that I'd set up with people that I'd messaged on Instagram, and I was like, hey, do you want to join the Luke Mind Power show on Instagram? And I'm just going to interview you and we'll just talk about stuff. And then I had people responding saying, that sounds amazing. Let's do that. And so I had a full calendar for a month of people, for the next 6 months, like from the beginning of 2020 to the July of the 2020, around that, no, was it in 2019? 2019 I was doing that. And then even when I was in Chicago, when I was living in Chicago for 3 months, I was still going live on Instagram and I was interviewing people and so that was the start of like me practicing. When there was no one watching, there was only one person, 2 people, 3 people watching these lives, So I can say that all I've done in terms of how I've gotten good at what I do and why I'm in my flow and all that kind of stuff is that I practice, I take action, stay consistent, and over time you get better and better and better. But again, own your craft. Everybody's different. How I do things is not going to always make sense to how you evolve and how you are. But anyway, guys, 2025 is a big year. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. I'm really excited to stay connected with you all. If you do follow me on Instagram, we do have a free community on my Instagram profile. You'll see you have a community. There's over 4,000 people in there. That allows me to stay close to you guys. I send some messages in there every single week of inspiration, and also give you announcements and updates as well of our next events, and also our free resources. There's also a few community chats that I have on Facebook as well. So if you actually go onto my Luke Mind Power Facebook page, you'll see that we have the self-love club, and also a motivation club as well. So there's a few chats there that you can join that are absolutely free. I love staying connected with everybody. I've got so many things, but if you do follow me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, then you'll be able to access all of these platforms. And remember, who you surround yourself with is whom you become. And staying close to me this year definitely is going to help you to stay inspired, as I'm here to give back to you guys as well. And I can't wait to continue to inspire you guys and help you to level up and live your best life, because I know that life is challenging. It's full of challenges, and we're the ones that make the choices every single day as to what helps us to keep going. Because sometimes it does get dark, sometimes it does get uncomfortable, sometimes it feels really tough. And, it is the energy around us that also changes the way that we feel, and how we're actually, keep moving and pushing forward, especially when it gets hard. So I'm here to be with you guys throughout the journey, 2025. Be grateful that you're here. It's a blessing to be alive. Be grateful for what you have, because a lot of the times we focus on what we don't have, and then we just go into a spiral of not being appreciative for this gift of life, and so if we can just practice gratitude every single day, practice and focus on all the things you do have, you'll end up attracting so much more into your life. But anyway, guys, like I mentioned earlier, if you are interested in learning more about our coaching programs, I'm going to continue to share them on our podcast. That we are here to help you, myself and my team, because once you learn and understand the power of your communication skill set, and learning how to love yourself and to heal your past pain or trauma or anything like that, you'll realize that you're not living from the past, you're living from the present, and you're creating the life of your dreams. And when you have that peace of mind, peace of heart in your life, you really feel free in the moment, and you're not dragging the past with you all the time. So don't be afraid to reach out on Instagram or Facebook. Just message us the word transform, and we'll give you some more information on if and how we could possibly help you move forward. And of course, we are always going to be doing, as I do in our communities, a lot of free trainings and resources that I create every single week to help you to keep leveling up. But anyway, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for tuning in, for joining us on another episode of the Luke Mind Power Podcast. Please be aware that there's a lot of motivation on the way. A lot of motivation. I'm just warming up, to be honest. I'm really just warming up, as I was mentioning earlier. I'm, just trying to slowly get back into my routine. But I know that without a shadow of a doubt that, just watch out for the next few episodes that are going to be incoming on the podcast, because, slowly I'm going to be getting more and more fired up. I actually love the way that I speak and express myself. And, I know that a lot of people do love it as well. So I'm going to keep doing that. And you keep believing in yourself in the meantime. And most importantly, guys, if you're listening to this, make sure, if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time there is a new episode. Hit the like button as well, and always leave me some comments in the comments section. I always do reply to everyone and try to get to everyone as well. I love going through the comments on YouTube and checking in with everyone and seeing what everyone's talking about. I always use all of your comments as well to think about my next episodes and what I could talk about. But like I said, I don't kind of plan anything because I love it to be intuitive, and it's always about, experiences in life that are very, very relatable to everyone. And that's why when we don't feel like we're alone and we can relate to something, then it kind of inspires us as well to make us realize that, yeah, wow, okay, so there's someone else out there that thinks like me, So anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'll catch you guys soon. I hope you're having a freaking fantastic day, and don't give up on yourself, and I'll see you soon. All right? Peace out.